Yeah, so I will wait for the others to come, and happy to have at least 4 of you here. So it means that you are interested in the audit-proof agile. Sorry if any were, I don't know if it's recording. Okay, so I will start anyway. So we will talk about audit-proof agile, and we will look into this relationship between Jira and TestRail. How can we achieve this? But before we go into who am I? I'm Patrícia Duarte Mateus. I'm Portuguese, born and raised. I'm currently a solution architect and QA advocate for TestRail, but I have a career with more than a decade in several different roles as in QA field. And I'm also a human mom of a feline daughter, so I'm also a cat lover. And this sentence means much to me. Running the right tests at the right time isn't a slogan, it's a survival tactic. And usually when people hear this sentence, they automatically associate with testing best practices. But it's more than just a best practices. It can be the difference between do a release with confidence or spending weeks looking for issues, trying to solve problems, and also giving answers to auditors. And for today, I will try to answer a simple question. How do we maintain agility as organizations scale while still being able to prove quality in any point in time? And for this question, I will use a specific business area. I will go into financial services that we know, and in TestRail we have several clients from financial service, and we know that this audit proof, it's really important for them. So when in financial services, you don't get to choose between speed and compliance. You will need to get both. There's several pressures, as regulatory pressures, as audit pressures. You have also things that are mandatory. You have a high cost of failure that can take lots of money. You also have a lot ongoing day by day. And when you try to adapt and to respond to all the needs, you try to go after several options, several approaches. Agile can be one of them, because Agile, it's much faster, you can deliver more, you can deliver faster. But sometimes faster doesn't mean better. And again, financial, we know that time and time security, it's really important and needs to be taken with care. And we also know that inconsistency, when you are running after and you are trying to deliver as much as possible, inconsistency might come. And again, in financial area, we know that inconsistency, it's a no for sure. So the challenge, it's not exactly related with the test execution and how much tests do you do and how much tests do you execute, but how can you have the certainty and be sure that you execute the right tests, so you keep the consistency whichever you are testing, whichever the development you are doing, and the needs that you need to attend for. And mainly of the problems that usually happen, they are not really related with technical issues. Inconsistency and the problems that we usually get and see, they usually come because we have different teams, and we know how business world is. We have different teams, and if they do not collaborate, if they do not communicate, things will go differently to each one. So one can test in one way, the other team tests another way, the other reports and register the results of their testing in a different format. And individually, independently, each one of them are doing a great job, for sure. But if we need to prove that we execute the correct tests, the right tests, if an auditor asks, was this workflow tested? Can we prove that this is secure? Can we prove that there's no risk assigned to this deploy? If anyone is using their own way of working, how can you show that? How can you prove that? So inconsistently comes into the place without any surprise, for sure. So how can we work around this? How can we bring this orchestration, this workflow, this consistency into the place? To not lose efficiency, to be able to prove the quality, to be able to prove that our teams are doing the right job and are working towards something that is meaningful. You might use Jira and you think that, yeah, we save everything in Jira. You use Jira as our all management tool. It will manage your project, your delivery, your user stories, the requirements. You have your tasks also. So you might say we have all structure in Jira. And Jira, it's good, yes, but for the intention that it was created, developed for. Jira, it's good for the delivery management, for the project management. Without any doubt, it's a super cool tool to that. But it's not. But this mission, it's not for the test management. So how can you orchestrate, organize your testing? So without the structure that you need from Jira, so the teams are using Jira at their own, how can you prove or correspond or answer any questions? The test work will be fragmented and you don't know what's happening. And then the deploys happen, the things go to, so all the project, it's okay, you have all the tasks ready to go, you are ready to deploy, but then something happened. And we need to support that workflow and avoid that to happen. So that's how TestRail can come in this process. So many teams that go through this inconsistency, this inability to prove that they are doing the right tasks, that they are guaranteeing the security, the efficiency, all the things that are needed to prove and to achieve with the work that is being done. Most of them are not related with the testing process itself, but the way that the work is organized. And TestRail comes in. But TestRail doesn't come to control. It comes to bring the consistency, the predictability, the organization that you need. So with TestRail, you can have different teams working, but all of them will work the same way. So you will have the same framework for all. So the quality will become measurable. The onboarding for new testers will become consistent. If you go through audits, if you need to bring data, if you need to provide answers to anyone, you will have a single source of truth, independently of the tests that are being executed, at which moment you will have a single source of truth. And of course, the scaling. You can have more teams, you can have more work done. Because although you see TestRail as just a tool, I know I'm from TestRail, but it's not just a tool. It's a framework that can give you structure, that can give you visibility, and it will give some consistency to all the testing process that all your teams go through. And you know that if everyone follows the same path, the same workflow, the same logic. We will all get into the expectations that are expected. So by the end, everyone gets confidence on the work that they are doing. And we know that when we are confident on what we are doing, we work better, we achieve better results, we can give more answers to the stakeholders, to the auditors, to the project managers, project owners, and so on. So until now, we know that Jira, it's really good for delivery, project management, no doubt. And then for testing part, you will have TestRail that can give you the structure that you need. But now you might ask, yeah, so you are saying me that I will use Jira to do one management and TestRail to do another, so I will have two silos. I will have the information spread across the two. That's why, and that's a solution from TestRail that is the Jira connector, the Jira TestRail Jira connector that was recently updated, and you can have the visibility using this integration. You can have the visibility of all your workflow. In the screen, you have two images of example of the information that you can have from the inside TestRail of what's going on. So you can see in TestRail what's happening inside TestRail. In Jira, inside you can see the test cases that are mapped to your requirements, your user stories, and inside TestRail you will be able to see the stating point of all the things that you have in Jira. So requirements will live in Jira, and test cases and test management will live inside TestRail. So more visibility, more clarity. So suddenly everything will become synchronized. You will be able to provide answers. You will be able to have a valid view of what you are doing. You will be able to preserve the work of your teams. You will be able to show what they are doing. You will bring the value to the work that it's being done. I don't know if any of you works in QA area, are testers. You know that many times the QA work, it's not really visible or comprehended because there's no visibility of what's going on. And with this integration, when you have the two tools connected, you can see more clearly what's happening. So with this connection between TestRail and Jira, we can provide support to end-to-end traceability and audit and have an audit-ready system. Because when you have the requirements, your tests, your results, your defects, everything connected in just one place, anyone comes in, ask the stating point, ask what's going on, and anyone will be able to provide that information. And in this so fast-paced world that we nowadays live in and work in, where we have releases every day, if you don't have a way to track what's going on, what was delivered, what was deployed, which tests were done, you might get some problems being delivered to the production, and that's not what we want. So the integration, it's really simple. So Jira will tell you what you are building, and TestRail proves that what you have built, what you have developed, it's worked without any problem. So you create your user stories in Jira, and you validate them and use TestRail as a way to save those results from validation. Your failures, imagine that you are testing and you find failures on some user stories, you can then link them back to your Jira issue and say, these requirements, this user story has problem, it's not okay to go. If you don't have this connection, how can you easily show and give evidences of what it's being done? So every step will be connected. And I've been talking about audit readiness, auditors, but having this integration, having this connection will bring confidence to everyone, to the business. And we know that when we are confident about what we are deploying, what are we delivering, what we are creating, we can achieve more, we can do more. So before TestRail was adopted, the teams probably would work differently. They will have their knowledge distributed between teams, every team working differently. You will take more time to be prepared for the release, for the audits, and the confidence, it's super subjective because you are not really sure what you are doing and you are working with different ways of managing what you are doing. If then you take in place the integration between TestRail and Jira, you will then have one single source of truth. You will have all the testing framework, all the testing work saved and managed in just one single framework. All the evidences will be centralized. You will be much more ready for deploys, for audits, for all the questions that might come, and the confidence on what it's being done will be higher. And getting back to the financial, so we know that speed matters, but many times they will also ask, as I mentioned, okay, we can do more, we can do faster, but this will probably increase the risk of what we are doing. And in financial area, we know that risks are not the really good thing to have. So it's not to have more tasks, it's to have structured way of working. Because if you have more things done without evidence of what is being executed, you will have risks and you will not be able to prove the quality of all your work. So putting in place a structure, it will not slow down your team, it will not slow down your work. It might take a little longer at the beginning, but then everyone will work at the same pace, with the same framework, with the same way of working. And that will take in place the confidence, the stability, the scale, it's possible. So you move from reactive way of working to a proactive way of working, to a more confident way of working. So at the first screen, at the presentation screen, I mentioned that running the right tests at the right time isn't a slogan, and that's because of that, because you need to know what you are doing, at which time, with which objective. And if you don't have a way to measure, to track, to see what is happening, you will lose visibility. So I have here this QR code. It's a success story for one of our partners, the IT group of Indonesia. They work with large financial service companies, and they know by experience that many companies struggle from fragmented QA processes, teams working differently, teams reporting the results in different ways, manual reporting, manual execution, so less visibility on how is everything working. And with implementation of TestRail, so they're supported the implementation and the integration of TestRail in the test management process of these companies, they have seen a bigger confidence and more transparency coming for the QA workflow and for the work that was being deployed and delivered. So as figure, customers reported that they're reducing the time of working by 80%. They improve the test coverage and they gain visibility. So again, QA need visibility, and with this integration, we are able to get those. So I've talked a lot about TestRail. If you are more interested in know more about TestRail, we are in the booth. I see some familiar faces in the audience. But if you want to try it for free, you can scan the code, or if you want a demo, there's also QR code available. The trial, if you want to, it's 30 days trial for free. You can do your own proof of concept. You understand how this integration with Jira works. How can you have more clarity, more visibility, more confidence on the work that your QA teams are doing. We also have several resources available. We have an academy that it's totally for free. We have YouTube channel. We have the software testing and quality report, this SAMBI software quality pulse report that was launched 1 month ago, month and a half. So all the information are pretty new and recent. And of course, a lot of tutorials, integration, and information available.